We've got our first look at Disney's upcoming Pinocchio live-action remake, headed exclusively to Disney Plus in only a few months' time. In this video, I'll break down the trailer and go over all the Easter eggs and character appearances within. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. We open up with a couple of shots of Geppetto's workshop, which look like they've been stripped almost directly from the original 1940 masterpiece. We then enter the workshop and see old Geppetto himself working on Pinocchio. This is our very first look, in video form anyway, at Tom Hanks in the Geppetto role, and he certainly looks the part. The hair and moustache are absolutely perfect and almost slightly cartoony in style. Clothing seems to match quite well too. We get a very brief glimpse at Figaro here too, and fans are certainly going to be excited to see him transfer over into the live-action film, as he's earned quite a bit of a cult following over the years. Next, we've got a near shot-for-shot of Geppetto's wish sequence, where he, quite literally, wishes upon a star for his newest creation, Pinocchio, to become a real boy. We also get a new version of the song underneath the trailer, but I'm not too sure who is singing this one just yet, or whether this is the version we will actually hear in the movie or not. After we get a quick flash of light from the window, signifying the entrance of the Blue Fairy, who we'll see very soon, we get our very first look at Jiminy Cricket in this new edition. In fact, throughout the trailer we get a few looks at Jiminy himself. He'll be voiced here by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but we don't get any sound bites in the trailer. Much like Geppetto, Jiminy is incredibly faithful to the classic version, from his clothes right down to the more stylized, cartoony design of the character overall. It's an interesting character to tackle here, because moving too far away from this cartoony style, e.g. if Disney were to try and put a realistic spin on him, would rob the character and the movie of its, I guess for the lack of a better word, Disneyfication. Interestingly though, he does almost look a little plastic or porcelain, particularly with how shiny his face is. I have to wonder if in this version he is actually a real cricket, or whether he's one of Geppetto's creations. Regardless, as one of my favourite Disney characters, I'm pretty happy with this little guy right here. He absolutely looks the part. We then get a fairly rapid-fire montage where we get to check out a few more classic characters. Next up, we get our first look at Stromboli, who actually hasn't been mentioned in any press for this movie, leading some to believe that he may not have even made the cut. But here he is, right in the trailer, our first confirmation. In the role here is Italian actor Giuseppe Battiston, who looks absolutely terrific. Again, costuming is pretty spot on, and Battiston brings the kind of menace we really expect from this role. I really hope they can go all out on the creepiness here. Stromboli is one of the creepiest, most frightening Disney villains ever. He has given me nightmares for my entire life, so it would be a real shame if they had to tone back on that here. The Coachman is the next character we get a glimpse of, and interestingly, he's probably the least accurate of the lot. With Luke Evans in the role, he's now a lot slimmer and buffer. It's a character iteration that absolutely looks menacing and not funny like the animated version. In the two clips we get of the Coachman here, it's interesting to note that he looks like he's delivering some huge musical number, which could indicate that, much like Beauty and the Beast, which also starred Evans, we may get a few new songs for this iteration. I would definitely welcome that. I always love it when these remakes throw in a few new little bits and pieces here and there, make it a little bit more fresh. We get the briefest of looks at Honest John and Gideon, who again look pretty spot on to their traditionally animated counterparts. They pull up looking really great in CG animation. Gideon seems to be up to his old shenanigans, whacking John on the head with a mallet. Honest John will be voiced by Keegan-Michael Key, while no voice actor has been announced for Gideon, telling me he will likely remain a silent character as in the original animation. And of course, we finally get a look at the Blue Fairy herself, with the stunning Cynthia Erivo taking the role. Easily my favourite shot of the entire trailer. The style, design, colours and graphics here are simply first class. What we notably don't get a look at all in this trailer is Pinocchio himself, something I didn't even realize until I'd watched the trailer a few times. This is in fact the best look we've got of him in this piece. Of course, we have had a brief look at Pinocchio previously, which shows that practically like every other character, Pinocchio will be looking mostly the same as his traditionally animated counterpart, but again, there's nothing here in this trailer. We could guess that maybe he wasn't included here for a bit of added suspense, you know, they might have the big reveal in the next trailer, but I'm guessing perhaps the in-motion CGI isn't quite complete on his character just yet. If the backlash following Marvel's recent She-Hulk trailer, which quite obviously features some half-finished CGI, is anything to go by, then I totally get why Disney would want to leave that out of our first look at one of their premium film releases. We did, however, get our first poster for the film, which does feature Pinocchio. Of course, he had to be included in his own poster. It wouldn't be a Pinocchio poster without Pinocchio. He's a little obscured by shadows here, but if we just bump up the brightness a little, we can see him in his full glory. While our previous first look showed us Pinocchio in his unalive doll form, this shows us his alive doll form. He's just up and walking around. And again, I'm really loving this so much. I think he translates really well into this 3D style, and I'm just dying to check out this in motion. Of course, there's plenty of other stuff scattered throughout here, which are all essentially ripped directly from the original movie. There are a lot of those nostalgia juices flowing here, and with the looks of this one from the trailer alone, I think Pinocchio is going to be a remake that definitely leans more into nostalgia bait than originality. And while I prefer when these films mix it up a little bit, I do understand that there are some movies that are just so iconic and recognizably Disney that there's very little that they can change without it being Disney. Pinocchio, easily the studio's first iconic masterpiece, is one such film, but again, this could just be some really fantastic work by some really great editors who have simply picked out some of the most iconic, most nostalgic moments from the film and shown it to us here, reminding us how much we love the original movie, and then when we get the next trailer, or we get the movie itself, we'll realize that they actually have changed a few things. But again, we're just judging it by this trailer alone right here. This looks pretty similar to the original animated movie. If this isn't to your liking though, Guillermo del Toro has a version of Pinocchio coming out later in the year on Netflix, which is a darker, more traditional take on the original novel, which may be a little bit more your style. There was also an Italian language adaptation a year or two back, which looks really fun and quirky. I haven't had a chance to check that one out just yet, but there are a plethora of different Pinocchio versions that you can check out depending on what you are after from this story. Me personally, I'm looking forward to both of the upcoming movies, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't slightly more excited for the Disney version, because quite simply, I'm an absolute simp for these live action remakes. I absolutely can't wait to see more from this one, and of course, once again, desperately looking forward to our first look at Pinocchio in motion. Until then, it's been officially announced that Pinocchio will hit Disney Plus on September 8, 2022, which is this year's official Disney Plus Day. Again, I would have loved to check this one out in cinemas, but it seems that Disney is having better luck with this kind of stuff on the streamer of late. I'll of course continue my coverage when more trailers and details drop. And at that, I'm throwing it over to you. I'm excited to know your thoughts on Pinocchio. Are you looking forward to this one, or are you a little bit lukewarm on it? Fire away with those thoughts down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and to check out some more recent cartoon news and trailer breakdowns. You can find those linked on your screen right now.